The cars out to?
Big grins all round. Just awesome. Just been absolutely magic. We've had several people that have hired them once and then hired them for the season. So a couple of guys have hired them once and bought one. It's been tremendous. Everybody's thoroughly enjoyed it, even in the rain.
It's just my second time out in them, but brilliant fun, absolutely brilliant. Especially today with the wet. I've never driven them in the wet. Normally I drive a Healy up here, and it's totally different in the wet.
Well, to me it was the speed difference between racing XR2s and jumping into one of these cars, rear-wheel drive in the wet. I mean, it's all over the place. It's fantastically good fun.
It's a driver's car, you know, it slips about a bit, even in the dry. It's really good fun, you know. It is.
And what about your expectations for the weekend?
Well, if I can keep it in one piece, I'll be quite happy.
And Robert Anderson won't be the only one who will hope to keep it in one piece. There are many others out there trying to do likewise in what will be some very testing conditions. You can see the track there, very greasy indeed. It's a very fine rain that's falling at the moment as the pace car pulls off into the pit lane, and we're looking for a good solid start. Engine notes starting to rise. It's a long climb up the hill here to try and get to where you can see the lights on the top. There they are as well on the pit wall. They go green, and everybody fighting for traction, scrambling for grip, but everybody seems to get away. Now what's going to happen at the first corner? We're right on board here with John Higgins in number 60. John, one of the few Scottish guys who's been campaigning all year, and by some minor miracle, I was about to say they all got through, but in fact Ian Kirk is the lone car off there into the gravel, but he manages to rejoin. Those big tyres getting plenty of grip even in the gravelly stuff. Through they all stream, everybody trying to find a bit of tarmac to play on, including there in 90 Robert Anderson. Well, up front, a good start being made. Lisa Morgan in a real old battle with John Higgins there. They are fighting it up that second and third place. Lisa Morgan had a couple of top 10 finishes this year. Nothing yet in the top 6. She's working her way towards that at the moment, though. John Higgins trying to go around the outside of her, and it didn't quite work out for him. He tried to take the outside line, but got it up on the curb, and that means that he finds himself in all sorts of difficulties trying to get the grip. He's still on the outside, further back behind. We've got Kate Featherstone under pressure from Chris Cook. Again, through the wet stuff they go. That is Kate Featherstone. The two lady drivers having good runs here, starting towards the front of the field. But up the hill they come. Simon Durrell leads on this. The battle again for second and third place. And John Higgins this time will go by. He gets the outside. They're still side by side. Lisa Morgan on the outside, fighting it off. Kate Featherstone under pressure as well from Lee Fitzpatrick. And down towards as they come. Durrell turns in. John Higgins completes the move up into second. Everybody else there wants to be fourth, including Stephen Traherne in 38. He's got Peter Morton in 32, just tucked in behind and to his right. And Morton looks at the inside, and Traherne has no option. He has to give way. And Chris Cook says, oh, look at that gap. I think we'll just fill that up. Oh dear. And Lee Fitzpatrick. I do keep telling him to change that number 13, but he won't listen. He's determined to stick with it, I think, for the rest of the season. But Fitzpatrick, nevertheless, repositioning himself on the track, and now here is John Higgins. This the battle for the lead. Simon Durrell's been beset by engine problems and dramas right the way throughout the weekend, and look at John Higgins, sweeps one side, sweeps the other, gets to the left-hand side. That will be the long way round as they come down to the slowest part of the circuit, the hairpin, drop it down into second gear. Certainly in these conditions, you don't want too much tyre spin at the rear, and you don't want to get on the curbs, John Higgins, either. Oh, it's very close and tight, and it's in fact it's Durrell who can't get the grip. So brilliant manoeuvre by Higgins. Oh, it's all happening at the hairpin. Stephen Traherne off in the gravel trap. You can see the trail he's left there as he's rejoined. He just completely missed his braking point, and that is a problem for Peter Morton. Peter Morton languishing there in the gravel trap. Contact, I think, with Stephen Traherne. Well, we'll leave the clerk of the course to sort that one out. I've got to tell you, this man here, Gary Thomas, really on the move. He's been so full of form all weekend. He's tucked in now behind Kate Featherstone, trying to find his way through. Started towards the rear of the grid, and Featherstone runs wide, and GT, Gary Thomas, forces his way through and says, that'll do nicely, thank you. That's another place that I've picked up. And now Kate Featherstone has her rear mirror. Oh, a rear mirror full of the crowd, because she's now got the team twin machine alongside her, and to the outside, and that's Chris Fountain in 52. Chris Cook trying to go through as well, but Fountain takes the outside line, and Kate Featherstone is just no match for these guys at all. To be fair, she hasn't got as much experience. And there in 70, we just got a brief glimpse of him. The white car there on the outside, that's local boy Ross Mickle. He's been very quick here all weekend. Not a lot of seat time in the Legends, but he does know this circuit very, very well. Oh, and he's ought to get his map back out. He's running a little bit wide there, but rejoins, and Chris Cook might just pick up that place. Fantastic stuff for the Legends, all the way through the field. Oh, spinner is Gary Maloney. Well, not for the first time in Legends this year. Gary Maloney spins out and will rejoin. This the battle between there in 3 with a wagging bumper is Chris Cook, so he's been in the wars as well. Ross Bickle trying to find his way past him, and Chris Cook trying to find his way, in turn, past Kate Featherstone. They'll drop down the hill. It really does drop away quite a bit then rising up. Very, very slippery down there, especially on the left-hand side, Kate. You don't want to be over there, and you don't want to be... Well, he can actually take those curves there, but looks like Ross Bickle will try and come through. This is a fascinating scramble. Oh, there's contact! Chris Cook and Kate Featherstone find themselves in contact with each other, and also off there is Lee Fitzpatrick. Oh, desperate misfortune for the Henlow-based driver, and Kate Featherstone rejoining him. Well, meanwhile, up front it's all changed. Gary Thomas has continued his inexorable climb up the leaderboard and now has found his way to the front. That's Ian Kirk in 40. Traherne goes through, so too Robert Anderson. There's Kate Featherstone, Darren Hills, Pete Amos and Martin Hart in 11. Good fights all the way through the field. Ian McMurdo is the next target of a recovering Chris Cook, but John Higgins, superb stuff from him. There he is, and he's got what every racing driver wants in front of him, and that's a clear track. Well, I say a clear track, he's got one of the back markers now up ahead of him, but he'll move through there with no trouble at all. Look at that car, it's covered in muck and stuff from Chris Cook, where he had that little excursion on the previous lap. And that front left wheel doesn't look at the best of angles either, so he's going to be struggling to control that. Darren Hills in 21. And again, it is all about just trying to get as much traction as you possibly can. So John Higgins leads the field down towards Railway Straight. Gary Thomas in second, Simon Durrell there in third place. I'm amazed how Simon's hung on, really, because he has had monumental dramas in the engine department. But John Higgins looks in great form here. Higgins will come out the hairpin. Good line. He's being caught, though. Gary Thomas is quicker. He's caught him again. He's revelling in these conditions. Cross the line they go. Higgins completes the lap as the leader. Will he complete the next one as the leader or very much the winner? I don't think so, because Gary Thomas is closing down him, but I suppose that well-worn phrase is, it's one thing to catch, it's completely another thing to get by. And that is going to be the fascinating battle we'll watch unfold over this next lap or two. Look at that now, GT right on his bumper. Gary Thomas in 55, right on the rear bumper of John Higgins. Ian Kirk's recovered well. He's running down in 8th or 9th place at the moment, but this is the fascinating scrap. Oh, GT gets it sideways. That will have cost him time, will it? But also no traction from Higgins. Down to Clark Curve they come. GT looks to the inside. Higgins moves across, takes the racing line. He's perfectly entitled to do that. He's got to watch himself now as they come up to the hairpin. That's going to be the next fascinating scrap. The checkered flag is being unfurled down here at the start-finish line, and Gary Thomas is going to go through. Down the inside he goes. Thomas and Higgins side by side. Oh, John Higgins was on his way to 200 points, but I think Gary Thomas is going to snatch those away. Can he get out the hairpin? This is the view from John Higgins' car. If Gary Thomas doesn't get the traction out, but he does, Thomas will do it. It's now the race and the drag up to the line. Gary Thomas signals he's number one. That is very much what he is. That will help him superbly as far as the championship's concerned as well. Let's get confirmation then of the race result. Fantastic stuff for the Legends here at Knockhill. Thomas with the victory. Higgins hangs on for second with Durrell third. Chris Fountain is fourth, and Lisa Morgan has her best result ever in fifth place ahead of Ross Mickle. Now, problems in that race for local man Robin Drysdale. What happened, Rob?
As you see, we've got problems here. We've got water in the fuel system, so we're just hoping we can get that cleared and ready for the next race. So we had to pull off. The thing conked out on the start line, but hopefully we'll get back into it. The car's been going very well, so it'd be a shame to back out at this stage.
We did a compression test last night and it was half its normal power. Plus we're having misfire from a damage yesterday. Got T-boned and it's bent all the exhaust, so the exhaust was half the width it should have been. So all in all, we're really pleased with the third. We did well.
I got a cracking start, but Gary's caught me. He's getting good grip out there. I've defended, and then he's got up the inside of me coming down to the hairpin. I left it so he could come up the inside, try and have a go at him coming back out, but he's too quick for me today.
just to let everyone sort themselves out, try and not get involved in an accident. Stephen Traherne done me a right favour, took about 5 cars out in the hairpin. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have caught John because he was away and gone.
A lot of pressure from John, and to make that manoeuvre into what was pretty much the final couple of corners.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know whether I'd catch him. We caught him just going down in Duffus. He was protecting the inside, but my car's just got a little bit more drive than him coming out the corners and coming onto the railway straight. We just had enough to get out the outside of him.
Tremendous performance that from Gary Thomas. I can tell you from my own experience in the 2 races we saw last week, that is awesome racecraft to get through from that far back on the grid to take the race victory. We'll have another race for you that's coming right after the break. Welcome back to Knockhill. If you look hard enough, you can see the 4th row bridge over there. I know it's a bit gloomy, but that's the sort of conditions that the Legends drivers will now have to face. We've got front row, and pole position man is Lee Fitzpatrick. On the outside, John Higgins, who had such a great run to finish in that 2nd place. And away we go. It's a good clean start. Robin Drysdale also at the front end there, but we got some of the very quick men out here, and that includes last year's champion and the current world champion, Tick Stewart. We've also got John Mickle there. We're looking back from John Higgins' car. Robin Drysdale, the local man here on his favourite circuit, particularly because he doesn't have to drive hundreds of miles to get to it. But we saw the problems and dramas he had in the opening race. This time, he looks to be absolutely on song. Ian Sturt, another who missed out on the previous race. Oh, Pete Amos spins! Well, Pete Amos spins it out. I'm not sure whether there's any contact there. Darren Hill's just managed to avoid him, and that cost Darren Hill some forward motion. I think it might have done because he inserts the inside. Coming down to Clark, the right-hander, which leads them onto Railway. Sturty will get through, but out front, Robin Drysdale has jumped on through to lead. There is Chris Fountain going through the light blue car. His twin brother there, Rob, is side-by-side with Tick Stewart. The rest of the field all make their way through. Drysdale, who leads. Fantastic stuff. On the right of him, or on the right as we look, is Lee Fitzpatrick. There in 3rd place is now John Higgins. What a great weekend he's having here. Oh, Stephen Traherne's been in the gravel again. Dear, oh dear. Missed his braking point altogether. A bit enthusiastic, but you can't mark that. You can see in the background there, on the pace lap, poor old Peter Morton was pulled to one side, or was forced to pull to one side with what appears to be an electrical problem. But meanwhile, Robin Drysdale's going to lose the lead. Lee Fitzpatrick goes through, so after we said about that number 13, perhaps it isn't such a bad omen for him after all, because Lee Fitzpatrick goes through to lead a Legends race again this year. Robin Drysdale seconds, John Higgins tucked in behind him. So 2 local men, 2 of the Scottish boys up there in the top 3, but Chris Fountain desperately keen to get through into a top 3 position as well. Ian Sturt is tucked in behind Fountain. You can see them there. That's Fountain right behind us. And look who's on the move again. Gary Thomas and John Mickle side by side. That's the pairing back there behind Ian Sturt. But Drysdale won't be worried about that. He'll be worried about getting through into the lead. He's done it. So he retakes the lead from Fitzpatrick, who ran a little bit wide. John Mickle has got past Gary Thomas. All change, I'll tell you what. Never a dull moment in the Legends cars. These 5/8 scale replicas of American 1930s coupes and sedans, most of them Ford sedans, as you can see. And look at Chris Fountain really trying to give John Higgins a hard time. Gets to the side of him. John runs a little bit wide, but they'll come through to complete another lap. Drysdale will lead. Behind him, in 13, the red car there is Lee Fitzpatrick. And side by side, a battle for 3rd. Chris Fountain in the light blue car on the inside. To the outside of him, John Higgins, and Higgins is going to lose the spot. And Ian Sturt and Gary Thomas lining up to come on through. You can hear the shrieks and hollers from the local crowd. You can see that man there, the number 10, is the number right at the top of the lap chart this time round, and that belongs to Robin Drysdale. Down the dip, looking back from John Higgins. You can see the line they take through there. A huge amount of curb being taken left and on the right as they drive it, and Chris Fountain trying to get in the back of John Higgins. And again, the traction, or lack of it, is the real problem. The drivers prefer it absolutely teeming down or completely bone dry, and at the moment they've got this very tricky in the middle kind of scenario, and that's what's making it so difficult and so challenging for them to get the power and the traction down. Drysdale leads, still Fitzpatrick. This is a great battle shaping up. Gary Thomas is absolutely flying here this weekend. He's got past John Mickle, as you can see. Ian Sturt is now lining up Mickle. Knockhill's been quite a happy hunting ground for the man who is ahead of us there. John Mickle's had wins here before at Knockhill. We saw him have a win last week as well. But up the hill they come. And Gary Thomas trying to get through. He's trying to latch on to That man there in the 52 light blue car of Chris Fountain can't just do it though, and Chris can't find a way down the inside either. A real game of cat and mouse down the dip, rising up again through the right-hander. Duffus Dip, a fantastic corner where the car really can get very, very sideways indeed. There's John Mickle, was lying 4th in the championship when we arrived here, and Gary Thomas gets through past Chris Fountain. He forced Fountain into a mistake. In fact, in that group of 4 cars there, we've got 3 of the top 5 in the championship, namely Gary Thomas, who was 5th when we arrived here in 55, just tucked in behind the 60 car there of John Higgins. Also there, John Mickle, 4th in the championship when we arrived, and so too Ian Sturt, who was 2nd in the championship. There is Sturty, the Old Spice original car, number 54. Sturty's mount for this year. Was drafted into the Old Spice team for this year. There's contact up front and off goes Drysdale. Oh, now I just wonder, actually, I said contact, but looking at that, there's no damage to the rear bumper there. Scattering gravel all across the track. That'll make things interesting for those following on behind, won't it? As if the grease and treacherous conditions are. But there you go, what did I say? The spinner there, poor old, dear old problems there for the number 50 car of Ali Hunter. So the man who's very much behind legends in Scotland, Ali Hunter, having a bit of a moment. Meanwhile, Gary Thomas, what a superb drive this is by him. That commotion at the hairpin, the final corner, really throwing things into disarray, because Gary Thomas is the new leader, as we've just seen. 2nd placed, and still there is the first of the Mickle Motorsport cars. That's Lee Fitzpatrick. Tucked in behind him is team patron John. Now, will Lee move over, I wonder? I bet he does, but he leaves him loads of room. Oh, he hasn't done, you know. Well, there you go. No team orders clearly in Mickle Motorsport. So behind them is John Higgins, Ian Sturt, then Chris Fountain. There is Robin Drysdale. Well, managed to get it back out of the gravel trap, as you can see. But is this Mickle's chance to go on the inside? He's got the positioning on the track. If he can push Lee wide. Oh, Lee does run wide, so Mickle will come through. Oh, there's contact there. John Higgins hits Lee Fitzpatrick. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's going to be desperate misfortune for both of them, because up into 3rd now comes Ian Sturt. Well, Lee Fitzpatrick's got going again, but John Higgins, I'm sure, looks to have mechanical dramas as a result of that impact. You can see the bumper hanging off there, and he's coming into the pit lane to retire, is John Higgins. Well, through no fault of his own there, I think Lee Fitzpatrick caught up in that incident. Let's have a look at it from Ian Sturt's viewpoint. There is John Higgins across the grass, bang into Lee Fitzpatrick, smacks into him, and you can see again across the grass. Well, he may well, to be fair to John, have just missed his braking point. Leave you to make your own minds up. You can see though the severe damage to the bumper. They're going to rip that off, and hopefully he'll get back out there again. But still, Gary Thomas leads from John Mickle 2nd, Ian Sturt is 3rd, Chris Fountain there in 4th place, Robin Drysdale, trying to keep it in a straight line and not succeeding through Clark anyway, is back in 5th position and closing on Chris Fountain. And talking of closing, Drysdale there is the meat in the Fountain sandwich, because look at that, Rob Fountain is through into 6th place, and there behind them, 7th and 8th respectively, Tick Stewart and Stephen Traherne. Fascinating stuff yet again. Here they come then, towards the checkered flag this time. It's going to be double bubble for Gary Thomas. GT takes his 2nd victory here at Knockhill. Fantastic stuff. Is he happy with that? You betcha. That's done the power of good to his championship aspirations. Superb stuff from Gary Thomas. A great drive, and those new tyres seem to help GT. Let's get confirmation then of that race 4 result. Thomas with the victory, John Mickle 2nd with Ian Sturt in 3rd, Chris Fountain hangs on for 4th with Robin Drysdale back in 5th place. But after the race, I talked to John Higgins and Lee Fitzpatrick to find out what happened.
We're just lying handy, very handy in 4th place, I think it was, Paul, and I've just came down to the hairpin. Going to push the brake pedal, and the brake pedal is just solid. I've tried to flick the car sideways to scrub some speed off rally style. That's took me onto the grass, and unfortunately I've gone into the back of Lee, who's unfortunately, again, as I just learned in the Naughty Boys room, that he's leading the race, and I've took him out, but I've pulled off straight into pit lane after that, and as soon as Lee came off, I've gone over and apologised to him, so hopefully there's going to be no hard feelings.
I think it was John Higgins had a brake problem, and we couldn't scrub off any speed. Come across the inside of the hairpin, across the grass, and hit my back wheel, gave me a flat tyre. So trying to get around the circuit like Knockhill with flat tyres is not much fun. Not very easy either.
Well, it wasn't very easy, but he did the job, and a great job done too by Robin Drysdale. We'll excuse him this mistake he made at the hairpin, went off on his own while leading, and afterwards I caught up with him to find out what happened.
We were going down through the chicane quite well, but when we come to the hairpin, I was maybe lacking a wee bit there, and that was about the only corner I think that Lee Fitzpatrick was coming up on me. So I thought I'll just try a wee bit harder. Just went in too quick and I dropped into fourth gear. I thought, nah, I've not got enough time for this corner, and just braked a wee bit too hard and pushed on and into the gravel trap, I'm afraid.
Ian, a bit lively up the front there.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a lot of grip off a line, so everybody was trying to stay on the line, but trying to dive up inside, outside to try and get a position. So yeah, it was lively. It was probably the most exciting race I've had this weekend.
Did Gary or John give you any opportunity to sneak on through there?
No, but they both got past me because they both started behind. I made a bit of a mistake. Gary got past and then John got past.
The green light went and we was all going for different gaps. GT went for a gap I had to follow, and Fountain was there as well. But yeah, it was good. It was go for your gap, grit your teeth, and hats off to all the other drivers. It was clean, fair. Me and Gary was inches away a number of times, but we all managed to keep on the black stuff, and that was the main thing.
Couldn't just get through?
I got by Gary once. Got him by him coming up the hairpin, and I tried to go around the outside of Ian. Keep you thinking it's dry, don't I? And Gary got back again up the inside, and he got through a couple of back markers quicker than what I did, and he just pulled a couple of 3 cars length. But second's better than the third, and we've had a good weekend. We've pulled some points back. We've just got to keep repeating the performance.
Good race. I mean, we both got a lot of respect from each other. So he managed to get past me, and then I made a few holes for him, and he managed to get past one of the fountains. But it was a good, clean race, and it was nice, obviously, to have 3 straight wins today.
Fantastic stuff for Gary Thomas. Well, let's take a look at the championship positions. It's all change. Ian Sturt is now the points leader, ahead of Tick Stewart in second, with Rob Fountain in third place, ahead of John Mickle and Gary Thomas. So 3 straight wins for Gary Thomas, a superb performance by him. And as you can see, with the rain still continuing to fall here at Knockhill, as it has all weekend, that about wraps things up. The next action is from Alton Park. It's an